Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. In this video, I want to show you my honest review, and I hope I will be able to highlight all the pros and cons of this product. So let's begin.
For more than 2 years, I heard this horrible sound deep inside my skull. Day and night, it turned my life into a living hell, making me irritable, angry, and unbearable for my family.
And when the third doctor told me, "You'll have to learn to live with this, we can't fix it," I was so tense and worked up that I wanted to put a knife in my ear so that I'd never hear anything ever again. But with the grace of God, I stopped before it was too late and saved myself before completely traumatizing my family. I cleared my hearing, and you can too.
Watch my video until the end, and you'll understand how you can do it in the privacy of your own home without any special equipment or medical training.
Ironically, on the same day that the third doctor told me there was nothing I could do, I discovered scientific proof that you can clear your hearing again and protect yourself from hearing problems, memory loss, and migraines. I'll show you in just a second. This is not an exaggeration, just an extremely effective 10-second habit that will completely change your life in the same way it changed mine, allowing me to regain my tranquility, perfect hearing, and mental clarity in less than a month. The simplicity of this solution will surprise you, maybe even enrage you. Pay close attention and watch this video until the end, because sooner or later it will be taken down and you won't be able to find this information anywhere else.
Just like you, I thought I was broken and that it was my fault for ending up in this painful situation, because that's what doctors and Big Pharma told me. Today, I know that's not true. It was all a devious lie to distract me.
A brain scan gave me the true answers regarding the root cause of hearing loss, tinnitus, and memory loss. Keep on watching this short video, and in 4 minutes I will show you the very same brain scan. At first, it might be scary to find out your hearing problems are just a big warning sign that your brain is in trouble. But I will also give you the only natural solution that's proven to give mental peace and complete clarity of all sounds around you. I found out the truth thanks to a chance encounter with an unlikely doctor. And if it weren't for that conversation, I probably would have put that knife in my ear by now.
Hi, my name is Alan Sanger, and this is my own embarrassing but completely sincere story.
In the next 3 minutes, I want to show you where the hellish sound of tinnitus, the one that blew through my ears for 2 whole years, really comes from, and how some people even lose their memory and hearing because of it. Then you'll understand that this problem has nothing to do with your ears, but with something much more dangerous that's happening inside your brain right now. After uncovering the root cause of hearing loss and tinnitus, you will be able to restore your hearing and stop that horrible sound from infecting your ears, pushing the stop button on all of your hearing problems forever. You'll finally be able to fight and reverse the strange phenomenon that's taking over your brain, which is an early symptom of other disorders such as memory loss or dementia. This proven method works incredibly well for everybody, man or woman, 20 or 80 years old, with hearing problems for the past 7 days or the past 40 years. And even more amazing is that you won't need anything else like hearing aids, dangerous chemical-filled medications, painful ear flushing, or risky surgeries. Neurologists admit that this is a miraculous nutrient that feeds your brain cells and unlocks brain rejuvenation, keeping your brain at peak performance levels and reducing the disease associated with it to 0.
Yes, I admit I was also skeptical about trying it myself. You know how it is. When you suffer for a long time and you begin to lose your hope, that's why it's extremely important that you watch this video until the end, because I promise you, you will regain your life. You will feel normal again, and you will enjoy a new kind of freedom.
No more headaches, dizziness, or nausea. Only clear sounds. No more feeling angry, irritated, and depressed. Just mental peace. You will forget those late nights when you were praying for just a second of silence, and that's because you can stop your tinnitus forever right now, just like 56,000 people all around the world did too. At first, their hearing started to clear. Then, They got a much quieter mind, followed by better hearing, clearer thinking, and improved memory. And super important, all of them are now able to sleep all night long again, after so many years of bad sleep or insomnia. After my last checkup, I know for sure that I no longer suffer from hidden brain disorders because the fascinating power of this method lies in repairing and rejuvenating your brain. This has been tested by the most qualified doctors in the world, to which only the elites have access. So let's stop that buzzing in your brain that follows you everywhere. In fact, let's stop the deterioration of your brain. It's time to free yourself from this nightmare named tinnitus.
It's time to enjoy the silence again. It's time to use your clever mind at full capacity and regain your social life.
Just like Julie G., 63.
This is the real solution. I saw and tried so many supplements and hearing aids. I was even thinking of getting surgery because my hearing was degrading with every passing day, and that annoying buzz was getting louder and louder. But thank God I saw your video, and after 5 weeks of trying your method, I can say that I have brand new ears. To hear this well again is nothing short of a miracle. I also felt a marked improvement in my memory, for which I am incredibly grateful.
Or Scott C., 67.
I suffered from tinnitus for 11 years. It was really bad. A lot of panic, depression. I couldn't accept the thought that I would always hear that whistling in my ear, and I couldn't make it stop. Nights were the hardest. I woke up 5 times a night without being able to fall asleep due to the sound. Until I saw your video, which changed my life. It feels so good to have peace and be able to enjoy a good sleep. I support you in your noble endeavor to help people, and I recommend it to everyone.
Or Mary L., 44.
My biggest problem was sound hypersensitivity or hyperacusis. Loud sounds would trigger the whistling in my ears. If an ambulance passed by me, I would be done for the day. I ended up wearing earplugs every time I stepped outside. The day I discovered your method was an eye-opener. Today, I have no sensitivity and I feel how my brain works much more efficiently. Recently, I was promoted and got a supervisor job with more pay. This method deserves an award.
When you see how these people reverse their tinnitus, you'll wish you'd found out about it years ago.
So let's do the right things right now to finally achieve the peace of mind you deserve and restore your hearing in the next 20 days.
Hi again, I'm Alan Sanger. I'm 54 years old and I live in Austin, Texas.
I've been a chemistry teacher for over 20 years now. To this day, I am still surprised by my incredible story, simply because I've been involved in the medical field for so many years. I've spent my life teaching my students how to improve the health of our great nation and how to become good people in the process. I'm always surrounded by brilliant colleagues, teachers and doctors, but also by outstanding students who immediately noticed my strange behavior. And you know what? It wasn't even my fault. The problem was the crazy noise in my ears that deteriorated my hearing and kept me distracted from any other activity. At the same time, I want to confess that I've contributed to a few medical breakthroughs, but this weapon against tinnitus that I'll reveal to you today is by far my biggest discovery.
Everything started 5 years ago on a regular Tuesday while I was giving a lecture in chemistry.
Suddenly, I felt a paralyzing noise attacking me. I first assumed it was the neon lights in the classroom, as they were pretty old, or maybe too much chatter coming from the students. But it wasn't any of that. Prayers, meditation, and sleep failed to make it disappear. The cold metallic sound was not coming from the outside. It was permanently glued to my ears.
After 1 week, I started to get really worried.
I couldn't sleep and concentrate anymore. I had headaches, felt jittery, and even downright anxious. One day I even asked my wife if she could hear what I was hearing, but she looked at me strangely and told me that I was working too hard. At first, I thought I had an ear infection. I took some anti-inflammatories and waited for it to pass. But after more than a month of torment, I realized I couldn't continue like that. I went to the best doctor in town, who happened to be a very good friend of mine, Initially, I was afraid to tell him what I had so he wouldn't think I'm crazy and tell my colleagues that I hear all sorts of imaginary sounds. But I bit the bullet and did it, convinced that he'd know how to end this madness.
Little did I know, this was just the beginning.
Dr. Thomas Ryan checked my ears and did hearing tests and an audiogram, and he told me, "Your ears are perfectly healthy, Alan." Then he continued, "I have to tell you, a lot of people are complaining about ringing in their ears these days, and the truth is, tinnitus does not usually come from the ears." I remember wondering if he thought I was crazy, but what he showed me next left me speechless. You're dealing with chronic tinnitus. But unfortunately, we have no clue what exactly causes it. It's a hidden condition. And then he opened a Mayo Clinic page on his laptop that I asked him to share with me.
I couldn't believe it. Everything I thought about the power of medicine, the incredible progress we made, and we still didn't know where this disturbing sound came from.
And my friend was no ordinary doctor. He was the best. I was so angry, the only thing the best doctor in town could tell me was, "I found nothing physically wrong with you." But the truth was that at the last moment, something very dangerous was happening inside my brain. "What about my hearing loss?" I asked. Because, as if tinnitus wasn't enough, I also began losing hearing in one ear. Thomas handed me a prescription for some pills to help with the stress and advised me to rest more, maybe even take a vacation to unplug. In fact, he didn't want me to ask him any more sensitive questions, which none of us could answer, knowing that would frustrate us both.
But I couldn't help wonder, if I was so healthy, where did my tinnitus and hearing loss come from?
So I started reading and reading and reading. Most studies said that tinnitus and hearing loss are caused by exposure to loud noises and sounds. But that wasn't my situation at all. At our university, there were some noises, but not very loud ones, to cause something like this. I started taking the anti-stress pills recommended by Thomas and thought, maybe I should learn to live like this, and with a bit of luck, in time, this too shall pass. But as time went on, it became worse. The noise became deafening. To be honest, it got to the point where I would hear 3 simultaneous metallic sounds, one that was buzzing, one that was hissing, and a third that was clicking. And there were also disturbing sensations of blood roaring through my ears and veins. My nerves were so burned out and my hearing so poor that I once yelled at my daughter Linda to put the forks on the table, even though she was next to me.
But the most difficult moment was when I started to realize that my mind started deteriorating.
Day by day, my memory began to slip. One day, I even forgot what I was doing in one of my university classrooms. So with all these awful things hitting me like a truck, I started putting together everything I heard from my doctor friends, the forums I browsed, and the studies I read to come up with a solution. But before I tell you what led me to escape from this horrible and shameful moment of my life, I'll tell you everything that didn't work for me, so you don't waste your precious time and money like I did. Hearing aids. They mask the noise in your head. They're costly and don't actually solve your hearing issues, so to me, that's a no. Sound therapies. Good for relaxing, but again, not helpful in curing my tinnitus. Prescription medicines. They help with my headaches sometimes, but made me feel like a zombie. Herbal remedies or homeopathy. Absolutely nothing. Acupuncture. Nope. Meditation. I couldn't even do it properly with the constant ringing in my ears. After all this, I became so stressed and scared of everything that was happening to me, ashamed and worried that my family and friends might think I was crazy. So one day, when the sounds were at their loudest and when the blood was pumping in my veins, when I was angry, lonely, and hopeless, and after consulting 2 more doctors who said they couldn't help me, I really started thinking about putting a knife in my ears. Then I started crying. I couldn't take this anymore. And I prayed for the first time since I was a child, when I would pray together with my grandmother. I prayed for strength, for finding my way out of this black hole.
After a few minutes, it suddenly became clear to me that I had 2 choices.
1, I could keep trusting the medical system and the doctors, hoping that somehow a breakthrough for tinnitus was around the corner. Although trusting this broken system had left me almost losing my mind, and the doctors had already told me they had no idea what was causing my tinnitus. Or I could choose to fight and seek out the root cause of my disease and beat it like a real man, husband, and father. This was a long shot, but I knew deep down it was possible and that it was my only choice. And because in the United States I couldn't find a solution or a doctor who could fix my problem, I contacted Bob Stewart, a college friend of mine and an extremely capable neurologist who lived in Ireland for many years, in the hopes that he might know some treatment in Europe.
I called him and got close to something that would finally change everything, that would end up giving me and over 56,000 other people their peace of mind and life back.
After I told him about my tinnitus, hearing loss, and memory problem, Bob told me, "You need to know about Dr. Joseph Barnes. Look him up on Wikipedia. He's a well-known Irish scientist and doctor who worked for many years in Africa and founded the International Community for the Relief of Suffering and Hunger. He ran one of the most detailed studies on hearing loss and tinnitus ever. Dr. Barnes proved, using brain scans, that hearing loss and chronic tinnitus are in fact problems related to the connections between your brain cells. This was the first true explanation. So I kept looking for this Irish doctor, and I found out that he is one of the most beloved and respected doctors in Ireland, who proved that tinnitus comes from the part of the brain that processes sounds. He presented the case of a 70-year-old man who agreed to cut his auditory nerve just to get rid of tinnitus, but unfortunately, tinnitus continued after the surgery. That clearly demonstrates tinnitus is not related to the ears. During this surgery, Dr. Barnes made another previously unknown shocking discovery. The hair cells of the inner ear have a root extension that allows them to communicate with the brain and regulate sensitivity to sound vibrations. This means that hearing loss goes way deeper than your ears and is actually rooted in the brain.
My question remained, where exactly in the brain? Can the brain prevent hearing loss and tinnitus at the same time?
I felt I was close to finding out the truth, yet something was missing. As a medical teacher, I intuitively know when there is a gap or when someone omits something intentionally. My only chance was to find Dr. Barnes. I called Bob and he told me to come visit him in Ireland. Because Dr. Barnes was a 92-year-old and avoided online media as much as possible. All I had to do was pack my bags and leave. Said and done. In 3 days, I was in Ireland, where Bob was waiting for me at the airport. When I got there, he confessed that it was very difficult for him to get me a meeting with Dr. Barnes because, apart from his age, he avoided talking to anyone outside of family or close friends. But because Bob was also an extraordinary doctor whom Dr. Barnes appreciated, he agreed to see all three of us for dinner at one of the restaurants near his house. When I met Dr. Barnes, he made some doctor jokes, and then he started telling me how he recreated the tinnitus circuit during an open brain surgery, and the result was mind-blowing. It turns out that tinnitus traveled through all the areas of the brain, and it extended far beyond the ear and far beyond the hearing-specialized part of the brain. Thanks to this experiment, he discovered that tinnitus and hearing loss is a disease of the brain network, the billions of neurons that connect in the brain. So, that buzz you're hearing is in fact the buzz made by the communication lines. And unfortunately, a jam in the communication lines increases the internal noise you hear and lowers the quality of the sounds around you. This is exactly what scientists and engineers refer to as the signal-to-noise ratio. Your jammed communication lines are called synapses in medical terms, and when your synapses are not functioning well, they cannot relay information properly from one brain cell to another. This leads to a weakening of your brain's signals and an amplification of the noise.
Then I asked Dr. Barnes, do the disturbing sounds in my head come from a problem with the bandwidth of my brain cells or the communication channel?
Yes, he told me, your communication network is broken down and needs to be fixed as quickly as possible. Otherwise, brain cells will continue to disconnect and your brain risks to shut down completely. In fact, your hearing loss and tinnitus are just an emergency alert to let you know that something is wrong with your signal. And if you don't do anything to repair this, they will soon be followed by memory loss, chronic fatigue, severe headaches, and I don't want to continue with the threatening aspects because we all know how important and sensitive the brain is. The bottom line is that every one of us can experience all these problems because our communication lines getting overloaded, leading to a failure in brain connectivity, just like a computer or cell phone network.
As he told me all this, everything finally started making sense, and I knew that I had to act urgently before it was too late, not only for me, but for all the Americans who are disappointed with our conventional medical system. So I asked Dr. Barnes,
"What can I do? Please help me. I've been seen by many doctors, professors, researchers, and alternative medicine experts and got nothing out of it. In America, we don't even know what causes tinnitus or hearing loss. And Dr. Barnes explained to me, Alan, they obviously don't know, and it's not their fault. The tinnitus and hearing loss industry controlled by Big Pharma is a $50 billion industry. You know those fancy supplements that promise to increase your brain power, or those expensive drugs they sell for headaches? Why would they allow for a cure when they can take your money for the rest of your life?
I was angry now. I had been working in the medical field for so long, and I hadn't even noticed all these things.
Then Dr. Barnes continued, there is only one remedy that gets rid of these diseases, and it is used only by the top 0.2% of the world's population, the most important people, those millionaires who have access to top-secret information, while all others contribute daily to the enrichment of the CEOs of Big Pharma while suffering from brain and hearing problems their entire lives. I got to my feet and shouted, "This is intolerable. We have to do something, please." I begged Dr. Barnes, "You are my last hope, and the last hope of millions of people who are suffering." Then he said to me, "Because you remind me a lot of myself when I was younger, I'll tell you more about this treatment. But please be careful. The elites of the world might come after you. I'm too old already, but you have to protect yourself and your family." Then Dr. Barnes told me he'd suffered from hearing loss and tinnitus for years before creating this special solution against tinnitus, hearing loss, and memory loss. That is why he had written so much on the subject. Studies like the ones I read, but always seemed to me somehow incomplete. And he said to me, when the government heard that I wanted to perform open brain surgery to find out what caused hearing loss, tinnitus, and other brain problems, they helped me, giving me funding. And of course, I was happy to sign a contract with them. But then, as soon as I discovered the remedy, they took it away and silenced me, saying they owned my discoveries.
Suddenly, I understood why nobody moved a finger to find a remedy for hearing loss or tinnitus.
Then Dr. Barnes continued, "This special formula works incredibly well. It got rid of my annoying buzzing in just 2 weeks and stopped the symptoms of brain network disease. And it wasn't just me. My wife used it too, and now feels more focused and sharp than ever before. The truth is these nutrients protect your intelligence and can even increase your IQ. That's why only a few important people, members of the government, big corporation officials know about it. It's not in their interest for everyone to have a clear, quiet mind and a high IQ." Hearing all that made my blood boil. 1 in 6 Americans have tinnitus or hearing loss problems. Their life is threatened and their family is traumatized. Many of them are deeply depressed and maybe even think about suicide. So Dr. Barnes explained to me very clearly, if they ever release this protocol for use to the general population, it will be obscenely expensive. I don't think it will happen soon either because their financial interests are protected by keeping you focused on the problem.
I felt like I wanted to cry. And for the first time in years, I understood what was happening. And I felt I could actually save my life and the life of those with the same problem as me.
Just like you, I was extremely curious to find out what this ultimate anti-tinnitus and hearing loss formula was. What could possibly make it so powerful to not only fiercely fight tinnitus or hearing loss, but also start repairing and rejuvenating your brain cells and protect them against memory disorders? Please pay attention now. The following information comes from top-secret medical research that the general public has no access to.
Here's a short explanation of the secret ingredients used by Dr. Barnes and how they work.
But first, Dr. Barnes warned me it's 100% effective only when you use all of the ingredients combined, in these exact same ratios, to get the best possible results against hearing loss, tinnitus, and brain disorders. Without adequate preparation, the whole ritual is pretty much useless. That's why a lot of supplements don't have any effect. And this is something that no one will tell you, because as Dr. Barnes said, Big Pharma's interest is to keep you on the hamster wheel, not solve your problems. Through his experiments on the human brain, Dr. Barnes realized that the first common link across all cases is chronic inflammation of the nerve cells. As you age, the nerves and tissues in your brain get inflamed, which causes increased pressure inside your skull. This leads to network failure and is the cause of hearing loss, brain fog, headaches, memory loss, and ringing in the ears. And he knew that the best ingredient to completely calm down the nervous system is a certain species of hibiscus, one of the 230 species in existence. This particular one is only found in Kunlun Mountains in Tibet, and it was absolutely essential to combine it with hawthorn berry, garlic, and specific B vitamins to repair years of brain deterioration. This powerful combination acts like a super steroid for your brain, helping it develop, feeding your brain cells, and creating the space they need to repair themselves. You'll quickly notice that you'll be thinking faster, better, and more clearly. Soon enough, you'll enjoy the sharp memory of your youth, instantly recalling everyone's name at a party or the lyrics of your favorite songs. After that, Dr. Barnes said, I wanted to make 100% sure that tinnitus, hearing loss, and all the pain, discomfort, and frustrations that came with it never reappeared. That's why he combined a few of today's most potent and proven ingredients, including green tea, juniper berries, and vitamin C. Juniper berries are designed to clean your brain of toxins. Green tea multiplies your critical neural connections, and vitamin C shields your brain against tinnitus, early onset dementia, and other neurodegenerative diseases.
Then Dr. Barnes warned me, there are so many counterfeit and cheap imitations of all these ingredients. And that's not an exaggeration, it's a fact.
He tested 97% of the available extracts of green tea, herbs, berries, leaves, and more, and that's because he found fake ingredients derived from chemicals and not natural sources. In other words, that green tea extract you think you're buying at the health food store will not deliver the same amazing results that real green tea extract will.
After Dr. Barnes told me all this, I realized that I would not be able to make the formula as effective as he did, no matter how hard I tried. He knew the exact ratios. He knew the orders of the ingredients, the type and variety of each plant that is best for the recipe, how to source for purity, and most importantly, he had done this before.
As you can imagine, it took months of persistently following up with Dr. Barnes to recreate this super potent formula so hearing loss and tinnitus sufferers everywhere could benefit. We knew that this was an incredibly risky process, as we could have lost our freedom or maybe even our lives, but we did it, so that millions of people who are currently plagued by tinnitus and hearing problems can get their lives back. We finally had everything we needed, a one-of-a-kind formula, and all the equipment necessary to produce it. Now came the hard part. We scoured the world for certified growers and producers in order to ensure that only the best ingredients were used to make our supplement. It was difficult as hell, to be honest with you. So many farmers use pesticides these days. It took many days and nights to find the ones that were honest and transparent and could supply us with what we needed. But in the end, it was all worth it. I had in my hands the proven formula that would end my hearing issues and basically get my life back to what it was before my problems began. A small pill that could revolutionize the world and bring back millions of tinnitus sufferers from the brink of insanity.
And sure enough, I couldn't wait to try it on myself. Anyway, I would never give out something that I wasn't 100% certain worked. So I became my very own test subject.
Day one was not too special, but I had faith in the formula I'd put my heart and soul into. Then, just 48 hours after starting the treatment, my hearing began to clear up. Instead of a permanent loud buzz, I was now beginning to hear the world outside of me clearly. The lovely sound of my cat purring, the music I'd loved since I was a teenager, and the enchanting chirping of birds. Everything was coming back with each passing day. As I went through the stages of regaining my hearing and saying goodbye for good to tinnitus, I called Dr. Barnes to let him know what was happening to me, and he told me the formula works in 4 stages. Stage 1, your hearing begins to clear up. Your brain cells are now activated, and they quickly work to repair themselves and get rid of that awful ringing that plagues tinnitus sufferers. Stage 2, your mind starts to relax as you start hearing sounds clearly. Free of tinnitus, your brain can concentrate on the things that matter. The sounds that would come off as distorted in the past are now clean as a whistle. Stage 3. Your memory bounces back. Research shows that memory is strongly linked with our auditory system. The better you can hear, the more you can remember. This comes with a sharper perception of life, better focus, and zero dizziness. Stage 4. Your brain is now firing on all cylinders. Once cell regeneration is finished, you'll actually find yourself feeling better and better, and of course you'll forget you ever had tinnitus in the first place. Suffice to say, the doctor was spot on.
I was amazed at just how quickly the formula was working.
By the second week, I had gotten rid of the constant ringing in my ears. By the third week, I could hear perfectly with my right ear, which used to be almost deaf. What's more, all this led to a massive improvement in my mood. My depression was gone, and I slept like a baby every night. Still, I kept taking the pills as prescribed because I wanted to see just how far they could take me. To my astonishment, by the end of the treatment, I actually felt mentally stronger. I could remember things more easily, was more productive, and no longer had issues with my energy levels or focusing for a long period of time. My headaches were gone completely as well.
After I saw these amazing results, I knew it was my life's mission to share this incredibly effective formula with others.
Dr. Barnes and I found about 60 people who volunteered to try out the pill, all of whom were suffering from tinnitus and hearing problems, but in different stages. Some of them had experienced tinnitus for only 7 days. Others were suffering from it for 13 years, and some could hardly even hear at all anymore. They all had different lifestyles and came from every background possible. We gave the pills away for free, with my only request being that they keep me updated on their progress. I thought I'd have to wait a few weeks before results came in. But lo and behold, the people I shared my supplement with were already getting back to me after just a few short days. 98% reported substantial hearing improvements and considerably lower levels of tinnitus whooshing and roaring. Some were so ecstatic that they already wanted to get more capsules. I told them to stick with the program and see how they feel after 6 weeks of treatment. When that period ended, I collected the results. They were amazing. I could barely believe my eyes. All the respondents said they experienced no more ringing in their ears after less than a month. People were also reporting that their blood pressure had gone down as their anxiety decreased. All of them were happy that they could finally sleep well at night after everything they'd gone through. Because I had experienced these same things before, I had hoped most people would get something out of the pill. But the sheer number of positive responses blew me away.
Now, this wasn't some fluke anymore. This was the real deal, and I knew I had to do something about it.
I called Dr. Barnes in a heartbeat and told him we needed to ramp up production while supplies lasted. He gave me his blessing, but said to watch out for Big Pharma, the very same companies who'd been charging me up to $4,000 a year on hearing aids and medical treatments. They wouldn't let this go without a fight. I said if that was the case, I'd still want to go through with it. Just the thought of being to help people get rid of their tinnitus was worth the battle for me. This was how we came up with Sonavel, the only supplement in the world that works directly on your synapses, addressing your hearing issues at their core instead of just treating the symptoms. In the months I've made the pill available so far, people have reported massive improvements treating conditions such as tinnitus, hearing loss, memory impairment, fatigue, and some even had success reversing the early effects of dementia.
Now, you're probably asking, how can you get your hands on Sonavel as quickly as possible?
Well, the fact is that just getting this made was incredibly hard. Finding the right ingredients for the mix is a challenge because most farmers do not grow their products organically anymore, instead using pesticides and other harmful substances to speed up the process. Luckily, we were able to strike an agreement with a small farm in Ireland to source our ingredients safely, which we then bottle in the USA in accordance with strict FDA protocols.
It takes about 6 months to produce a batch in these conditions, but we're proud of our standards and we wouldn't sacrifice safety for profit any day of the week.
What's more, the people who have tried our product so far already want more of it. Some don't even have hearing issues, but just use it to boost their cognitive abilities and stave off aging. No wonder our stock gets depleted so fast. Finally, Big Pharma has already started fighting back. They've threatened us with lawsuits if we don't immediately cease the sale of our product because its amazing results threaten to cut into their profits. We've been able to hold them off so far, but there's no guarantee that they won't try more aggressive tactics going forward. But since you've stuck around with me this long, I'm going to offer you the rare opportunity to buy Sonavel right now, while stocks still last.
But before I do that, I want to tell you exactly how you should take it to achieve maximum results. This is very important. You really don't want to get this wrong.
First, you start by taking 2 capsules per day for at least 30 days. Take 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening with a big glass of water. A bottle of Sonavel contains exactly 60 capsules, so this should get you through the first month. After a few weeks, you'll start seeing results. By the end of the first month, the pill has had enough time to really kick in, and your hearing will start to improve. But it's essential to have patience. This is a natural treatment that works with your body instead of against it, like pharmaceutical pills. After that, we recommend taking Sonavel for another 2 months. This is the equivalent of 3 bottles of Sonavel. 3 months is enough for cell regeneration to take place at a deeper level. So all the improvements in hearing you've gained by now will now be permanent. But the absolute best report we've gotten were from people who've taken Sonavel for a full 6-month course. Not only did they experience relief from tinnitus and other hearing conditions, but they also noticed that their minds got stronger, their senses sharper, and more mental energy throughout the day. It's impossible to estimate just how much damage your brain network has sustained up to this point. It all depends on your medical history, diet, and lifestyle choices. So, to be on the safe side, we recommend taking Sonavel for a minimum of 3 months. This should be enough to recalibrate your brain for the long haul so that your hearing improves and your brain fog evaporates. Everyone who has undergone treatment with Sonavel has reported incredible success. These are just a few of the messages people have been sending me since I made the formula available to the public. Carolyn T., 60, Detroit.
I have to confess that I didn't believe for a second what you were saying. Just take 2 pills a day to end tinnitus, hearing loss, and other brain disorders? Please, it was my son, the one who insisted I take them. It was really depressing being that hard of hearing relative that annoys everyone at family gatherings. I also had mild tinnitus in one ear. Horrible. Now I'm still pinching myself when I wake up in the morning and I hear the birds chirping. Also, the ringing is gone and the memory is better. I really feel blessed.
Charlie M., 58, Kentucky.
My wife was preparing to learn sign language. After years of struggling with hearing aids, she was almost deaf. The doctor told her there was no hope. We tried your method out of desperation, and it's been amazing ever since. I can't believe we're both listening to our favorite music again. Hope everyone finds out about this.
I love hearing stories like this. It shows that our product works for all kinds of people, regardless of age or the severity of their conditions.
And all that just by taking 2 little pills each day. That's why I feel safe in saying that this is by far the best natural treatment for tinnitus and hearing loss out there. Nothing else compares. Yes, there's always the medical alternative. You could see a doctor and undergo painful operations and spend a lot of money in an effort to lessen your symptoms. But why not try something else first? Something that might greatly improve your condition without torturing you or emptying out your bank account. As for other alternative healing methods such as meditation, acupuncture, and teas, they're just not strong enough to treat serious conditions such as tinnitus and hearing loss. Spending time and money on these alternatives is a colossal waste if you've got the best thing right in front of you now.
With Sonavel, you'll be able to see results within 3 weeks at most, and you don't have to worry about any pesky side effects or long-term issues.
Now you get why Dr. Barnes initially pushed me to sell my formula at $380 per bottle. The ingredients are hard to get a hold of, Alan. You really want to make the most of this, he said. Plus, Sonavel is the only supplement available on the market that actually addresses the root cause of tinnitus and not just the symptoms. Just think about what people pay when they go to the doctor to procure the latest treatments and hearing aids. I told him I understood where he was coming from. Even at $380 a bottle, Sonavel would offer great value for the money. But I wasn't in this for the money. If I were, I'd just sell the formula to some big pharma corporation and be set for life. But that's not me. Since I too have known the suffering that comes from tinnitus and hearing loss, my main goal is only to help other people get better. That's all I've ever wanted from the beginning. I wish something like this was offered to me before I became depressed and traumatized my wife and daughter, potentially for life. But I can't focus on the past. All I can do now is get Sonavel into as many hands as possible while supplies last. If this meant dropping the price to where I was barely breaking even, so be it. That's why I won't be charging you anywhere near $380 for this incredible creation.
Instead, because you've watched this presentation to the end, I will make you a once-in-a-lifetime offer.
After much deliberation and negotiation, Dr. Barnes agreed to allow me to sell one bottle of Sonavel for just $69 for a limited time. This makes it easy for anyone who's been battling tinnitus and other hearing issues to obtain the solution to all their problems without breaking the bank in the process. What's more, if you decide to go for the full 3-month treatment, I'm prepared to give you a 30% discount on each bottle. That comes down to just $49 per bottle, for a total of $294. This offer is available today only, while supplies last. Reserve your treatment in advance, and you won't have to worry about tinnitus and hearing loss ever again. But be warned, once we run out of supplies, we may not be able to offer a new batch for another 5 to 6 months.
That's why taking advantage of the full 6-bottle offer is your best bet. This way, you'll secure all the bottles you need for the full course of treatment.
You won't get this much bang for your buck anywhere else. One tiny investment now can reap benefits years down the line, once your hearing reverts back to normal and tinnitus is a thing of the past. Sure, 1 bottle of Sonavel is enough to make all that ringing in your ears go away. 3 bottles will go a long way toward reversing whatever mental damage you incurred as a result of your hearing issues. But 6 bottles could actually protect your brain long term, boosting it in the face of disease like memory loss, amnesia, or dementia. Picture yourself having the sharpest mind possible regardless of age. You might even give Dr. Barnes a run for his money. At 92 years old, he still plays competitive chess and writes books in his spare time, all thanks to Sonavel. So take a good look at the offers we've prepared below this video and choose the one that makes the most sense for you. After you click the order button, you'll be taken directly to our checkout page, where you'll enter your payment details and finalize your order. After that, your shipment of Sonavel will be delivered right to your doorstep in 7 days or less.
This is your last chance for securing a full treatment of Sonavel before supplies run out.
And don't forget, no matter what happens, you're protected by our 60-day, 100% healthy or money-back guarantee. This way, you'll get to experience for yourself just how mind-blowing Sonavel can be. Within a few weeks, you'll start to regain control over your body and mind. Anxiety will fade away as your tinnitus recedes, and you can start living life to the fullest again. Over 56,000 satisfied customers so far have already experienced this. And if you decide to change your mind, or the formula isn't working as fast as you expected, just send me an email, and I'll buy it back from you, no questions asked.
So click one of the buttons below and kickstart your healing process today. It'll be the best decision you ever make.
Just don't wait too long before you act. Your problems could be getting worse by the day, and there's always the risk of our supply getting bought out by other customers in the meantime. After all, we're offering this incredible product at just $69, even cheaper if you go for the bundle packages, and that's exactly what people are doing, emptying our stock in record time. Because of that, we might be forced to raise the price $179 per bottle, maybe even higher in the future as the supplies we need get more expensive. Believe it or not, some people are still wary of Sonavel precisely because it's too cheap. They think it couldn't possibly do the things it does to alleviate hearing problems and tinnitus at a fraction of the price of prescription medicine. And they'd be right. If we charged the same prices as Big Pharma, our product would still sell and we'd get rich. But that's not why I got into this. My mission is and always will be to help as many people as possible. And greedy corporate interests can take a hike as far as I'm concerned.
So don't hesitate. Take me up on this offer while it still stands.
Click the order button below and I'll make sure you get your shipment of Sonavel in a matter of days. At this point, it's all in your hands. You can either leave this presentation, not believe a word I say, and continue living your life as before. You might hope that your condition will improve on its own, but we all know how unlikely that is. But know this, before you opt for much more expensive and potentially damaging medical treatments, you have a choice to be proactive and do something about this now. So why not take matters into your own hands? Proven natural treatments like Sonavel don't come along every day. A lot of work and research went into creating this one-of-a-kind pill, and you are fortunate to be among the first who find out about it. So go ahead and make a risk-free order today. You'll thank yourself later. Just click below and enter your payment details. We'll take care of the rest. You will have the bottles delivered to your doorstep in a matter of days.
I can't wait to hear your success story.
Cool, right? Click the link in the description for my price discounted special.